Hey everybody, this is Doing Lines. This is the sports betting podcast where we bet on all the not sports and some of the sports of sports. We're running the intro back because I forgot to literally hit the record button. I'm your host Kyle Ayers, joined as always by my co-host Austin Huff.
Hi. I was going to say in the first intro that we recorded without even pressing record, you mentioned the word circa, and I was like, that had the potential to be the smartest intro we've ever done. Right. And then not only did we fail with the word circa, but we forgot to even record it. So
man, Kyle's really on top of it. This could be the peak of how this has gone so far. Oh, he hasn't hit record and none of this is real. He hasn't used the lens cap is on for his life. I feel
there's only one of us on this podcast that has ever had brain surgery, so I feel like you have a pretty good excuse.
Well, it's early.
I, however, when I'm done, I can only I've got nothing to bounce it off of.
I'll give everyone this. If you're listening to this is the episode you want to check out on YouTube because we've improved our setups a little bit and we're coming in the H'est of D, which I think stands for hardest of dick. And we are. What am I doing? This is nothing.
It really is. And basically for our audio only audience, I essentially just added a light to my background.
Yeah. Austin seems to have caved to an Instagram targeted ad.
I did. We're recording a little later at night, so it's definitely more ambient. Yeah. And so when you do say the H'est of D, it does. I could be shooting something immediately after.
I think I'm very lit up too because I'm wearing this ribbed white sort of thermal, but my light is you are going to look. I'm looking like one of those like an angel in a Kevin Smith movie, like Clerks or something.
Your shirt is ribbed for her pleasure. This is the latest I think we've ever recorded a podcast.
It is. I mean, it's usually it's a day later than we normally record.
Well, it's a day later, but also time of day too. It's the latest, so we could say this is the adult episode of Doing Lines.
It is. Welcome to After Dark with Doing Lines. We actually do cocaine. This is the. We don't even realize that that's what Doing Lines means. We call it snorting. Totes.
Snorting white stuff.
Snorting whites. Snorting whites is what I call people laughing at a show in the Midwest. That's if you're really crushing in Fayetteville, you're going to get a lot of snorting whites.
Snorting whites are just the people who watch Big Bang Theory.
We're trying to capture that bigger demographic, the snorting whites, the 18 to 34 snorting whites. It's crazy. Snow bunny, snorting whites, very different things, yet could be the same thing.
Honestly, nobody would know the difference if you just interchange those words.
Yeah. Well, we should talk about the podcast. This, what we do every week, if this is your first time listening, insane time to pick up. You're like someone who's I wanted to start watching Breaking Bad after Gus died. If this is your first...
I haven't watched Breaking Bad yet.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'll just remember that.
I like The Sopranos. I picked it up a little ways into Don't Stop Believing, playing in a diner.
Yeah, and then my TV just cut out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna finish the series, but I feel like
if you're just now tuning in, you only watch Final Jeopardy. This is a podcast where my co-host Austin Huff and I here on Korked Bets, we come up with some bets about NFL football that aren't really the typical bets you normally see. We let our guests bet $1,000 across those. We ourselves also bet, and then we see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, it's I'm excited. Well, I'm excited for this weekend. However, I'm also dreading this weekend. This weekend to me for football, or I guess really the next couple of weekends are like a going away party for your best friend. You're excited to see him, see all your friends, and hang out and have a blast. But then you realize once that party is over,
right,
your friend's basically gone, and you're not going to see your friend for a very long time.
I know, and even in that down week when you hang out with your friend in Hawaii or Vegas, it's not that fun because the next week is the last week you're going to see him.
yeah, right.
It's just not going to be the same. Maybe I'll watch some replays. Maybe I'll talk about new, younger friends I might find.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like I have a couple of friends that are starting a friend group that they want me to join. It's my friends the XFL and USFL. They're combining together, and I'm like, I mean, maybe I'll hang out with
Maybe I'll
them for a
check it
little
out
bit,
for a
but
week. I feel like the owner of that friend group is just going to end up promoting movies in it. So I'm not sure if I actually believe it's going to be completely unique. It is a weird time because this is like the best week in football this weekend, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, it is because
4 games, 8 best teams.
And honestly, I think 2 games per day is like the most digestible meal you can have.
Yeah.
Because even on like a regular season Sunday, like in theory, it's great, but nobody's watching all of the games, and
especially
Red
without
Zone,
fantasy.
Yeah, right. Like week 18 kind of sucked. Let's all admit it.
Yeah.
It's okay to admit that a week sucked in the NFL. No fantasy, and like half the teams are benching their starters.
It's really wild because they've expanded the playoffs so much that you're like, oh man, can the Steelers make it?
Yeah.
Nick, what am I even talking about?
Right.
Unfortunately, Green Bay winning this year is going to like reinforce the expansion of the playoffs.
Yeah. Can the Steelers survive the season is like asking, can John McClane survive this Die Hard movie?
Right.
Like, we all know the ending.
There used to be a better chance of him really making it, but he's limping out of there. Also, if the Steelers are John McClane, I just picture him killing a bad guy by tripping him as the bad guy runs by.
Oh man, and then after the game, when John McClane is giving his post game speech, just walks out when asked about his contract.
Right. The Steelers are starting to feel like Bruce Willis now. Anyways, that was mean.
Oh,
and not
hello,
nice.
hello.
Wow, are you doing an impression of Bruce Willis walking into any room? I'm so sorry. It's not nice at all. It's so mean. I don't have a lot of outlets these days.
Come on, dude. That's Disney's The Kid you're making fun of.
I have so little to do right now. I bought a Tamagotchi recently, and I'm not joking with you at all. I bought a Jurassic Park Tamagotchi.
So in the last year, you've bought 2 pets, basically.
Yes. So we make some crazy bets. We have a good time. We talk about NFL. We'll see what happens after the season. I think we'll leave that for a mystery for itself, mostly because we haven't thought about it. Nope. I feel like the writers have lost. We're like, yeah, we know where this is going. Don't ask.
Yeah. Why would we? Look, at very least, we will be also like, what is it? George R.R. Martin, where like, look, another season will come next year, probably, maybe.
Yeah. George R. Our podcast still going. That'll be. So last week we made some bets. I want to talk about these bets here. Some of them were ridiculous. Zach Schwartz was on here last week playing for the Pete Carroll 9/11 Fund, a fund that I think is probably well funded but could always use attention. We say we make some weird bets, some bets that aren't really you can't find at normal sports books. Last week we bet will there be more celebrities at the game, the Chiefs game, or highlight segments of Tyreek in a Chiefs jersey. We bet will Goff or Stafford have more F plays on a ranking scale.
Yeah.
We bet about the temperature at kickoff versus Tua rushing yards. We bet. So this is sort of what we're working with. A very long bet about Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the Montgomery Bucks boycott. We're all over the place.
The celebrity bet should have been. I was thinking about this over the weekend. Like, obviously, it was so cold in Kansas City,
yes.
So you're not going to get your Paul Rudds, your Eric Stone Streets out there for that game. But that bet, if we would have moved that to the Lions game. Right. Oh my gosh! Like there were so many celebrities in house for the Lions' first playoff game since.
I think the thing because I want to talk about that bet because Eric Stone Street was there and never shown because he was in the stands and you wouldn't be able to tell it was him.
Yeah, right.
Because he was covered up in like complete with goggles and everything like that. So the celebrities at the Chiefs game or highlight segments of Tyreek in a Chiefs jersey. There were 3 times they showed a Tyreek Hill highlight.
Yeah,
and then there was 1 to 2 celebrities. Taylor Swift.
And do we count Tamba Ali, who did the drum beat?
We do not, because that's a former Chiefs player set up at a celebrity moment. I think if I want you to be attending the game, and I'm sure he did, and I love Tamba Ali, but he is my 1 to 2 because they really weren't showing any. There's no Melissa Etheridge, there's no Paul Rudd, there's none of these attempted manslaughterers row. I wouldn't say murderers row. I would say there's none of these of grand larcenies row. That's when it's like celebrities that you used to really like.
There's none of these just physical assault row.
Right, and they might have been there, but we didn't see them. Like Stone Street, who sat in the crowd, and I just saw on his Instagram, so that doesn't count. So that one played at Tyreek. My bad beat of the week is not that bet though. My bad beat of the week is the temperature at kickoff versus Tua Tagovailoa rushing yards. Tua, who had rushed for double-digit rushing yards once,
and that was 15 yards.
Yes.
He once the entire season he had only rushed for more than 10 yards, and it was 15 yards.
The temperature at kickoff was -4 degrees, so that's going to be hard. I thought it was going to hover to like at kickoff like 8, because it's it's rarely as cold as they say it's going to be when it comes to this.
That's what they were calling for, and then just these insane this insane cold front I think was even greater than weatherman predicted. Obviously,
so it was at -4, and that was going to be hard. But then Tua ran for 9 yards on the first play of the game.
It was
his longest run of the season.
He matched his longest run of the year on the first play.
I was like, well, this guy needs to lose yards without taking a sack, which is insane and tough in the NFL. If this was college, it would have been different because sacks are negative rushing yards in college, but they're not in the NFL. So we would have needed designed quarterback runs that end up which never happened. So he had 25 rushing yards, which was double his season high, and he had -4 kickoffs. So that's my bad beat of the week. There were a lot of bad beats this week, if I'm being honest. The Tyreek celebrity one was close. The Goff Stafford, where Jared Goff had one. Neither of them had a pick,
which is crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, in a game like that with it heightened as much as it had been, for Jared Goff to play flawless. I mean, Jared Goff, to his credit, man. He's putting together a year like he had when he took the Rams to the Super Bowl.
You really don't see seasons like this very often. But he did have a fumble and a few sacks, and Stafford was only sacked twice, so that one went to Goff. Goff was worse if you go by the F tier measurables. What else? Oh, the McCarthyism bet, the Red Scare, which is the Cowboys-Dallas game. Which team will make it to the red zone and not score more? Push.
Wait, was it really? Oh, I thought the Cowboys lost that by a ton.
They were at the 24. They never made it into the red zone and didn't score. They had turnovers on downs at just outside of the red zone twice.
Oh, my gosh. I was like, I thought for sure that they made it.
We all just got our money back on that one, on that push. Zach Schwartz, our guest last week, hit pretty hard on the Tyreek bet, but then lost a lot of money on everything else. $200. Positive $200. Positive is good. It was an odd week. All the bets were pretty close last week.
There's a chance that we might end up on our leaderboard, which we do keep track of at Korked Bats. If you want to check it out to see all of our previous guests from this year, there's a chance that the leaderboard is all in the green by the end of it. I mean, we only feature the first 12 people.
We have a second page that'll be called the board.
yeah. It's just red. It's all red.
And then Austin, I made $850 last week. I hit on the Goff lock. I lost a little bit of money on the temp at kickoff, but that was my only loss of the week. You made $900 last week.
Heck let's go.
You lost money on the you made a big bet on your lock on the rush yards. You lost money on Amari Cooper not scoring a touchdown. And that was pretty much it. The push, we had all had a lot of money on the McCarthyism that ended up being a push. So,
and unfortunately, Joe Flacco could not take the Browns to the Super Bowl.
The literal saddest thing I've seen in the NFL this year is Joe Flacco evading.
Joe Flacco needs more Miralax, is what I've learned this past
The way
weekend.
that he moves is like if a boat tries to evade a bird.
Yeah.
You can't turn that fast.
Isn't it the most Browns thing ever for Joe Flacco to have this magical season? People are clamoring for him to be comeback player of the year over DeMar Hamlin, who died on a field.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, no, Joe Flacco, magical season. And then the Browns' very first playoff game just pooped the bed.
Stinker.
They
like
Browns
a massive,
the bed.
Crappy game. It was not good. And the Texans played really good, but the Texans defense is not exceptional by any means. And the Browns is.
Yeah, right. That exactly. And they gave up 31 points to that Texans offense, and then Joe Flacco 2 pick sixes threw 2 touchdowns to the other team.
Absolutely wild. The Chiefs will lose to the Raiders. You play like that.
Yeah, which is so funny to me that Baker Mayfield has more career playoff wins than for the Browns than Deshaun Watson and and I guess Joe Flacco combined.
Baker has more playoff wins in the past 20 years than the Browns.
Yeah.
What a wild thing. I mean, we could go. It's such an insane. I'm rooting for them. The playoffs are a bizarre lineup that I think we'll get into here. We should probably get over to our guest though.
Yeah.
So we got 6 bets we're gonna line up here for our guest. Yeah. It's gonna be a good time.
Kevin Wheeler from KMOX in St. Louis, one of the best in radio that I have had the pleasure to work with. He is an incredible talent, knows sports inside and out. He's the closest thing I've ever met that reminds me to Jim Rome in just the fact that he can hold a one-man show the entire time. He's so great. He's so much fun. So let's go ahead and just get to him. We're joined now by a guy that I absolutely love. Had the pleasure to work with him in St. Louis on a sports talk radio show called The Kevin Wheeler Show, and it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun every weekday midday, and which is to me is like the perfect time to ever be working. That's the best time slot. It's probably the least listened to time, like in terms of day part. No, I'm just saying day part. But hours wise, it's you don't have to wake up early. You're out by lunch. It was, and I couldn't have asked for a better sidekick with that show than the man that you hear right now, Mr. Kevin Wheeler. You can follow him on Twitter at Kevin Wheeler 94, which I highly recommend that you do, and you can hear him on the Dave Glover Show every weekday on KMOX. From that show airs from 2 to 5. He is on from 1 to 5 though with that hour of crosstalk. Dude, Wheels, how are you, man?
I'm good, brother. How you been? You're my boy, Blue.
I'm good. I feel like since I will still to this day get tweets from listeners in St. Louis about Randy A up to date. Whenever Randy Arozarena does anything, if the Blues go on any sort of run, people will still tweet me about the blue Kool-Aid, which we on the year that they were in last place on January 5th and all the way to winning the Stanley Cup that year. Yeah. We said if they met certain thresholds throughout the season, I went out and bought you Kool-Aid, and you would drink into the Blues Kool-Aid because you were like they're not coming back, guys. The Blues season is dead. It's not happening. And I said, well, if they would do this, then you would go out, and you went out and you did it. And
I had a blue mohawk too.
And that was another thing. The bet, the blue mohawk. You said they're okay. And once they made the playoffs, you go, okay, they made the playoffs, but they're not going to go far in these playoffs. And I said, okay, Wheels, if they go, you got to get a blue mohawk, or a texter sent that in. And
making me look great, man. Thanks.
Sure enough, you every step along the way. But you know what? You wouldn't be, you were in sports talk then. You wouldn't be a sports talk host if you didn't get takes wrong consistently, right?
Of course. Yeah, it's part. If you're 50-50, you're amazing.
Yeah,
you're amazing if you're 50-50 because you got to give a take on everything, man. You got to have a take on everything. Yeah, and look, none of us know any more than even the biggest experts. And look, even the experts get half of things wrong half the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense. That was a weird way to put it.
Look, you're talking to two of the dumbest guys on the internet.
Hey, if you get this wrong, honestly, you're just feeding into the getting takes wrong narrative.
All right.
Yeah,
I think it's
right.
Yeah, that's a good point. That will make me in a way that'll make me right.
You gotta you watch back to draft things, and I don't think anyone's got a single thing right when it comes to the NFL draft. Maybe ever. Maybe literally ever.
Point. That's a good point, man. If we pay attention to the people that get paid millions of dollars to make real decisions, we're not wrong any more than they are.
Even the movie Backdraft was all about things going up in flames. So
that's not good.
So Wheels, now you are coming to us from St. Louis, Missouri, and I do know that sports betting still not legal in Missouri. So do we need to wait for? Do you need to go cross the river over to Illinois and do this fake sports betting podcast from over there? Are we going to get you arrested?
No. First of all, it's ridiculous that sports betting's not legal in Missouri when literally everything else is. But there's literally everything else is legal. But also, we don't have any we're short 200 cops in St. Louis, so I think I'm all right. Even if anybody figures it out, there's nobody
generally
to
tied
anyway.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, literally tied up.
Yeah.
You can jump from the arch over to Illinois. I think you can make it.
Yeah, right. All right, Wheels. Well, yeah. Well, look, Wheels, you've had a career in radio, so it's very obvious that you are a man of means. You're probably just sitting on a pile of money right now as we speak. Yeah. And which means, we don't like to hoard all this fake money for ourselves. So in turns, we'd like to donate it. So is there a fake charity that you will be playing for this week?
Yeah. It's one of my favorites too. I mean, it's something that's really, I think Austin, having shared a room with me 5 days a week, you'll kind of get where I'm coming from on this. The Foundation for the Annihilation of Rectal Turbulence. So FART for short, but it's not a laughing matter. I shouldn't laugh because
it's serious.
They fund scientific research into eliminating, controlling invasive species like the Arkansas barking spider, the air tulip, the booty bomb, things like that. So they're trying to help people out because, as you know from being around me for a while, this has ruined meetings, cracked up classrooms in school, interrupted sermons in church, emptied rooms. I mean, that's been going on since humans began living in groups. So FART helps everybody, man. I mean, it saves marriages. I think it saves a life every 241 days. I think if that's right. Yeah. So, right. I mean, it's God's work, man.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you kind of brought shed a more serious light on this because
it's personal for me,
Yeah, FART is no laughing matter at all.
It is not a gas.
It is. All right. Well, we're going to try and raise as much money.
For you guys? Is that a good cause?
Yeah. No, it's a great cause. Honestly,
right.
I think it's one that hits close to home for many of us. And
girlfriends everywhere, love the work that they're doing in preventing Dutch ovens and things along those lines. So,
it may have affected me just a minute ago. You don't know.
Austin told me his pipe burst, and I'm not sure I know what he meant.
Oops.
All right. So you put on new pants? I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mention which pipe, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. So, Wheels, we're going to lay out.
It's not your windpipe. That's all right.
Yeah. Right. It's my moneymaker right there.
Yeah.
Wheels, we're going to lay out 6 bets for you, and we ask that you do just bet on at least 2 of them, and then we'll give you $1,000 of fake cash to hopefully raise money for FART.
Yeah.
And
anything's
Kyle,
allowed with the betting. You can do parlays. Yes. We looked up what those are, so we're not sure. But if you
we're not entirely sure what parlays are.
This parlay should me for this multiplier. We believe you. So
we'll take your word
for it. The whole thing and put it on a 6-game parlay.
You are more than allowed to do that.
I could really make some bank for the charity.
If you saw our leaderboard, you would also realize that winning $100 puts you in 5th.
Yeah. Right.
We got a lot of negatives, a lot of big negatives, because one of your bets does have to be the lock, and how the lock works is it is double the winnings or triple the losses. So,
all right.
But anything you want to do, our leaders are parlayed in, right? I believe the top of the leaderboard were a couple of 2 or 3 bet parlays.
Yeah, I believe so too. That is one. The lock can really make or break your day at betting,
more than the Seahawks even. All right, so we're going to.
Sorry. It can make or break wind your day for.
Hey,
there you go.
FART.
We're working on that. We're trying to fix that.
All right, I'll lay out my 3 bets, then Austin will lay out his, and then we'll let you drop some money on these. My first bet is the bet I'm calling 13 going on 30. I am a Chiefs fan. This week they play the Bills in what is the NFL's wettest possible dream. Famously, a couple of years ago, the Chiefs beat the Bills after that 13-second drive to get a game-tying field goal. And then the NFL changed the rule, even though the rule had affected the Chiefs in a negative way the year before. They didn't give a shit. But they decided this was the time to change the rule. The overtime rule, blah, blah, blah. That big 13-second game. We all know what we're talking about. Will there be more references to the third? Okay, what will there be more of in this game? Plays over 30 yards or references to the 13-second play and exactly 13-yard plays.
Ooh.
Combined.
Wow,
so that's
okay.
the 13 going on 30 bet.
13, all right.
Will there be more 13-yard plays and 13-second references or plays over 30 yards?
All right.
Travis Kelce's going to run only 13-yard routes the entire game. That's how this is going to play out.
That's my dream, is watching.
And isn't that Taylor Swift's lucky number? It is.
I think if it's the demographic that gives you the most money, it generally becomes your lucky number, which is why mine is 2 43-year-olds. I mean, my dream for the game is that Travis Kelce smiles twice. That man has not looked happy. That man has looked so tired and unhappy this year. Jason's looked happier.
Yeah.
And he was crying.
Dude, yeah. That's just because Accelerator Energy decided not to smile. All right, my next one is the Buccaneers play the Lions. And this is a battle of two former number 1 picks, which rarely happens because they have no idea what they're doing in the NFL draft. And even then, both of these guys aren't even on the team that drafted them. It's like 2 number 1 picks who were abandoned and made it to the division round.
Yeah.
I'm calling this bet number 1 picks. Will either of them throw exactly 1 interception?
Okay.
Not 0, not 2. You can tell me who it is, both of them, yes or no. However you want to bet on that one, that's just where it is.
Okay.
And then my last bet, this is I'm not even allowed to make fun of any of Austin's bets today because this one is the stupidest thing I've ever thought about.
Oh, I love this. Yeah, Kevin, I always give very extensive, long-winded bets. And
we run
Kyle
out of
just
our Zoom
reams me
trial because Austin's bets are so long. And we have premium Zoom, and it's still like we're ending.
Yeah.
Our servers just can't handle this.
Sounds like our show meetings, Austin.
This one, so in a low-key, the Texans-Ravens game, I think, is going to be amazing. I don't know what's going on with Stroud, but he's so good. Once again, not the first overall pick. The Panthers famously overthought their way into not having him on their team. They don't know what they're doing. Anyways, the 2 quarterbacks in this one are 2 of the best quarterbacks. The AFC is actually insane. But we have Lamar Jackson and C.J. Stroud. As everyone knows, Jackson and Stroud is an anagram for Jocks Rotunda. Everyone knows this. I don't have to remind you guys. I'm just been the talking point all week. Rich Eisen won't shut up about this.
Need it on my notes.
Jocks Rotunda, Jocks being the athletes that play this game, Rotunda being a round desk that is 360 degrees around. Will either player have 360 total yards in this game? If so, who first? I call this bet Jocks Rotunda. So will either player have 300? That's a lot of yards, but this is like kind of the game that lends itself to looking like a lot of yards. And there's Lamar Jackson could go for 100 to 80 each. So those are my 3 bets. I got 13 going on 30, number 1 picks, and Jocks Rotunda.
Okay, and that's just between C.J. Stroud and Lamar Jackson.
Unless you want to say Odell Beckham has 360 receiving yards, sure.
Right.
I think that's about what he has since the catch.
Okay. Since this is Wheel's first time on the podcast, I figured I would do a doing lines first. In a playoff episode, I am going to make a bet on a team that is not even in the playoffs anymore. I'm calling this one the Eagle has landed, just because I couldn't come up with any better names. The Philadelphia Eagles have, as we know, been eliminated from the playoffs. In the words of Nick Sirianni, see ya! He is. I think this is more of a thank God moment for all of us outside of the Philadelphia market to not have to deal with the Eagles and any of it going on. There's a lot of drama always surrounding the Eagles, and there has been for the last 8 weeks while they've been on this slide. So this week's bet, do we get any national headlines that involve the Eagles this weekend? Nick Sirianni, is he fired? Do we get any notes? And this is just Saturday and Sunday. Is Nick Sirianni guaranteed to stay in place? Does someone post something wrong?
Look, this is how you know it's not going good at your job if it's a national headline that you aren't fired.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like Dallas.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy.
News broke.
Headline.
Guy still at work.
I will throw into this bet, even if it doesn't necessarily make headlines. If AJ Brown either tweets or posts to Instagram, which, if you guys know, before the playoff game, which he sat out, he did not. He deactivated his Twitter account and he erased any reference to the Eagles on his Instagram page. So the Instagram page is still technically active, hasn't posted in weeks, and then the Twitter account is deactivated. So if he posts on anything, that will count.
This is like the most
bet.
Titans fan keeping up with the X-ass addition to a bet I've ever seen in my life.
Do I have Google alerts for AJ
Also,
Brown set up? I will neither confirm nor deny.
This bet is, does anything happen to the Eagles or my ex tweets?
Also, so my next bet is, does my ex-girlfriend Holly post anything this weekend with her new boyfriend Trevor? Are
they still in Cabo? You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, listen, man, I don't want to get into it again. All right, so my next bet, and I saved this bet for the middle bet, and I'm calling it D'Amico in the middle of the game. Taking it to Texans-Ravens. The band Jimmy Eat World is performing at halftime of Texans-Ravens. Jimmy Eat World's biggest song, of course, The Middle. The first line of that song is, "Hey, don't write yourself off yet." So this bet is simple. Does the team that is trailing at halftime win the game? And so basically, is it only in their head? Do they feel left out? Do they try their best, try everything they can?
I guess that's better than if the bet was just like, do we see players in their underwear? Which I remember the music video to this being like a big deal because it was like a underwear party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will everything be just fine? Will everything be all right? Jimmy Eat World. And if their score is tied at halftime, whatever you bet on this, if it's, yes or no, I'm going to take that answer and turn it into a different bet, which is the middle is 2 minutes and 46 minutes long, or 2 minutes and 46 seconds long. Does Lamar Jackson throw for over 246 yards in the game? Does that make sense?
No.
No,
take it from your blank stares.
Sense.
I'll take it from your blank
doesn't make
stares
sense.
that it
I
does.
missed half this bet because I'm following AJ Brown's deactivated account on Instagram now.
So I will be moving on.
Okay. So
to
wait,
my third.
We're betting on who, if the
You're
comeback
betting on
happens.
if the team trailing at halftime wins the game.
Okay.
So yes or no, and if the score is tied, obviously no one is trailing.
This is
Then
tough because I want to bet no and yes on these two half bets. Anyways.
I know. That's why it's tough.
It's a quandary.
It is. It's a.
All right. Let's get to this. What is always the stupidest part of this podcast, which is your third bet.
Here we go. The Lions Bucks, and this is one. This one is, you guys want to buckle up for this one. I'll go ahead and consider this one my pop culture bet of the week, which I haven't done in a couple of weeks. Earlier this year, when the Lions and Bucks played, I gave a very convoluted bet about Wall Street because those are the most famous Lion Bucks out there, right, folks? Huh? But this time around, I'm taking it to the movie Wall Street rather than actually going to actual Wall Street. Because, Kyle, I know you remember, I had it tied into how the NASDAQ did at the closing bell on Friday compared to the final score. It was crazy.
It's a crux where we saw listenership decline. Not even that episode as a whole, that time code.
We were really big with Financial Bros for that 1 week.
Yeah,
it was wild.
Everyone was shorting us like AMC stock.
So this time I'm taking it to the movie Wall Street, the 1987 classic with Oliver Stone, Charlie Sheen, Michael Douglas won Best Actor for that movie. Great movie. The movie line, the famous movie line from that, Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel. It was their code for insider training in the film. Now, when we think of NFL teams, who is the Blue Horseshoe?
The Colts?
The Colts. And who is Anacott Steel?
A porn star?
that does sound like a strong porn star name.
One of your exes?
Okay.
I think I saw Anaconda Steele.
Who's she dating?
Gardner Minshew. I think that's what we're getting.
Yep. Yes. Gardner Minshew. You know he moonlights as a as a stripper of some sort.
I think he moonlights as an NFL player and daylights as an adult film star.
Look, we only go because of the buffet. The Anacott Steel, the Steelers. So Steelers and Colts actually faced off in week 15 on December 16th. Okay. The Colts won that game 30-13. That's a combined score of 43 points. So is the combined score, aka the stock in this game, higher or lower than
this was all a walk to over under the score?
43 points. Is it over under? Oh, we'll say 43 and a half. Just so it can't land smack dab. So over under 43 and a half in that game for Lions Bucks. Wheels, I know you will be heavily glued to that game as you are a Lions fan. And I love seeing the Lions getting this moment.
It's the best.
I think America is actually rooting for Detroit to go
I
all
hope
the way
so,
this
man.
year.
I mean, for God's sake, the last time they were even in this round of the playoffs, I was 20. I was a sophomore in college. So I looked this up. So not only that, but like that year when they won, so it was January of 92.
Yeah.
Joe Biden was 46.
The movie Jurassic Park hadn't even come out yet.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
The movie Jurassic
he was the
Park
age
hadn't even
I
come
wish
out.
politicians were now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how long it's been. He was an appropriate age to be president.
Yeah, former president was 30 years old that year.
It was before Jurassic Park came out, which means the Lions' last home playoff win was before dinosaurs.
Yeah, before the Jurassic era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last time they actually won a championship of any kind, my dad was like 8.
It was certainly long enough ago that you have to refer
like
to it as you have to
yeah,
call
now
it a
your dad's in
championship
Congress.
of any time. Like,
he's almost old enough at 75 to be running for president in 2024.
oh wow.
He's got a few more years and he'll
it's
get
getting
there.
sad. No, at least it's not a stressful job that we let those guys do.
Perfect for retirement. I mean, seriously.
This is how I know none of them are doing anything. They're 80 years old. No matter who wins, it's an 80-year-old, and they're not having a heart attack. That's how I know they're not trying. That's how I know they're not doing anything in there. Because if you're 80 and doing that job, it should kill you.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm talking about Joe Flacco, obviously, when I say this.
Yeah. So I thought.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's been the Lions haven't won a championship since it was called any kind of championship. It has a very famous trademark name now, and we don't even use it when we refer to the last time they won.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right, so we got 13 going on 30. We got the number 1 picks. We got Jocks Rotunda. We have the bet about the Eagles. We have.
All right, listen. Jocks Rotunda. You can't then clown on my
Jocks Rotunda
easy.
sounds like Play It Again Sports got bought out.
No, Jocks Rotunda is the name of the movie that Anacott Steel is in.
We have the D'Amico in the middle bet, and then we have Lions Bucks over under 43 and a half.
Okay.
You got $1,000 here, Kevin. However you want to put this across, let us know any parlays or locks or what you want to do.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go big or go home. So we're gonna do a parlay.
Okay.
I actually, if we can just do it one at a time, I want to do a full 16 parlay.
Okay. All right, here we go.
So just give me the one, I'll give you the pick, and then we'll just boom. I want a 6 because if I win this, we are saving lives.
We are, honestly.
Well, fake lives. We're saving fake lives.
Right. Yeah. We're saving fake lives.
Right.
Is what we're doing.
FLM, you know?
Yeah, I want to do them all. 16 parlays straight across the board.
Okay, now if you hit this again, Kyle and I know so little about sports betting, and we host a fake sports betting podcast. If we hit this, what are we saying? Like you
I
win?
mean, just a normal 3-team parlay. Usually it's like 9 or 10 to 1.
Okay.
So I think if we just want to be conservative and go 20 to 1.
Okay.
I'm giving
be at least
a typical
more than that, but
a typical payout for a 6-team parlay of money line, not what's it called when you just bet on who's going to win, not even
the money line, straight up,
is 45 to 1.
All right,
so we'll do that.
Let's do it. 45 to 1.
Oh my gosh, this would be the biggest. This would be the biggest payout if all.
Yeah,
of
I think $45,000 will put you in first place over 1,500.
That's it. Go big or go home, man.
Okay. All right. So 45 to 1, Kevin. Yep. The 13 going on 30. Are there more plays over 30 yards or mentions of 30 seconds and exactly 13-yard plays?
I'm going on the 13s on that one.
Okay.
13s.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're just evenly. So we're putting the 1,000. We don't even need a price total, right?
Don't need a price total on anything.
No, it's all of them.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to make you do less math, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Honestly, we should make everyone do this. Will either quarterback throw exactly one interception in Bucs Lions?
Yeah, they both will.
Okay. Okay, and then Jocks Rotunda will either quarterback accumulate over 360 total yards.
So do I have to say either, or if I say
with your
both,
parlay, you don't have to. You can just say yes or no to this, honestly.
Yeah, you could say yes or no.
Yes, I actually think they both will.
The other thing you could do is if you weren't parlaying, you could bet on one or the other. But essentially you got this going.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going yes.
Any Eagles headlines this weekend?
I'm gonna go with a no.
Okay.
I'm gonna go no. And now, do we count just a point of clarification? Do we count if they change a coordinator? Is that big enough?
If it makes it I'll say if it makes it to ESPN's front page.
Then I'll go yes.
With an image.
Then I'll go yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say yes. Only Saturday, Sunday, right?
Only Saturday, Sunday, right?
Okay. I'm gonna go yes.
It's a good weekend for that because there's not 12 games.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of hustle and bustle in the coaching industry. Brian Johnson is if Brian Johnson gets an interview,
we'll see.
That's not going to count, but if he gets hired somewhere, that would
see
count.
Where it lands. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go yes.
And then D'Amico in the middle. Jimmy
I don't really understand this one, but
does the team losing at halftime take the lead?
Do they win the game or take the lead? If they're losing at half, do they have to win the game, or do they just have to regain the lead at some point?
Sorry, my sound cut out. 1 second.
When it comes
say that again.
When it comes to this bet, do they take the lead and that counts, or do they have to win the game?
If the team trailing at halftime has to win the game, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say no.
Okay, no.
And if they're tied, what was the other thing that goes in there?
246.
If they're tied at halftime, then the bet becomes: does Lamar Jackson throw for over 246
But you can't change your entry to the bet.
Oh, yeah. I see. So the answer is no. All right, I'm going to stick with no anyway.
Okay. He's only thrown for over 246 yards, I think 5 times this year, which is surprising.
I like the odds there.
And then Lions, Bucks. Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel. Is the over under 43.5?
Yeah, I'm going over.
Okay.
Going over. I mean, my guys give up a ton of big plays in the passing game, but they can score. So I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I mean,
not by a whole lot, but I'm going over.
I could see this being a 26 to 23.
Yeah, I'm going to go with more like a 30 to 20, but yeah.
Mike Evans is just so good in the red zone. It's like crazy.
Yeah. And the Lions defensive backs don't like to cover or tackle, so.
I go in and out of this weird phase of where I love and hate Baker Mayfield, and I'm currently in the phase of loving him, and I don't
you sound
understand
like NFL
why.
GMs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit agnostic on Mayfield because I've always thought that he's kind of the product of what's surrounding him.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good, but I mean, they don't run the football at all. So I'm feeling pretty good. Plus his ankle's banged up. I know he won on the weekend, but there's a little different animal than a dog that's already been kicked 100 times in Philadelphia and one that's feeling pretty good about itself.
Right. Baker Mayfield's one of those guys where it's like, as he has success, it's kind of like when Patrick Mahomes scrambles. I'm always just like, how is he doing this?
The math
like, how is he getting away?
Positive.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, and I see Baker Mayfield have success, and I'm like, how is this undersized walk-on at the University of, or for Texas Tech, and then University of Oklahoma, doing what he is doing, and he always surprises me. And Patrick Mahomes always gets away. Like
he's like the throw-in Tebow.
yeah, right. So, all right, Wheels. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We want to wish you the best of luck on your bets. If this parlay hits, you will break doing lines records because
you might even
just
break doing lines.
You might. We might just end the podcast.
No, I would. That would be like my dream scenario.
I do want to break the bank. I mean, there are relationships everywhere counting on us.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's the output of it. It just stinks, and I hope we put an end to it.
For some people, it does. For others, not so much.
Right. Sometimes you do have to separate the fart from the fartist.
Wheels, love you, dude. Thank you so much. Follow him at Kevin Wheeler 94. And if you're in the St. Louis area, check him out on honestly, if you're anywhere in the Midwest, check him out on KMOX.
St. Louis is a city famously invested in very good radio antennas.
That is the strongest signal, I think, in America. It is insane. You on a clear day, you might be able to catch him in Honolulu.
Yeah, if you're getting us like this time of year, once the sun goes down, you can get us in Canada. You can get us in Alabama. You can't get us west of the Rockies, though. The mountains get in the way.
Yeah, it's and people are like, why are there so many Cardinals fans? That's a good reason.
It is
why.
It is the historic reason.
That's the reason. Yep, it's me. No, it's the station. It's KMOX.
It's Kevin Wheeler is the reason. They're like, look, we love his red hair, and so we were looking for a red team to cheer for, and boom, Birds on the Bat did it for him. Wheels, best of luck. Thank you so much, man.
All right, boys. Thanks for having me.
All right. I mean, that was perfect. Kevin's perfect. That's so fun. I'm going to lay my bets down real quick. No parlays for me. Just doing the traditional Austin Kyle matchup, which here we go. I'm putting $150 on the 13s. I think it's going to be close, but the Chiefs aren't really – they have like one big play a game, and usually it's dropped by MVS. I'm going to put the $300 on yes for one of them having exactly one pick. I'm going to put $100 on the Eagles headline yes, $200 on no to the D'Amico in the middle one. I feel more confident about a front runner winning and Lamar under if it's a tie than I do about a comeback or Lamar over if it's a tie. And then I'm putting a $250 as my lock on the Lions and Bucks over under 43.5.
Okay. I am going to say I'm going $100 on the 13s. I'm going $100 on yes with one interception, $200 on Jock Rotunda for no. I'm going to say no for Eagle has landed. That is what is that? That's 500. That's 500. Is the team trailing at halftime win the game? I'm going to say no, and I'm going to do $300 on that.
Okay.
And then Lions Bucks, I'm going to say the over under. Oh man, I want to take the over so bad. I'm going to take the over because I want to root for points. So yes, or over and 200 points.
All right, lock one in, baby.
My lock will be the 13s.
Ooh, all right, everybody. Let us know what you're betting. Let us know how you're doing. Enjoy the divisional rounds. Find Korked Bats at Korked Bats with a K wherever you find stuff. If you're listening to this, you should know how to find it. Thank you to Kevin, and good luck.
Yeah, good luck on your bets. Love you.